What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another tipping video, and today we'll be going through my round 22 tips and predictions for the AFL. This will be the second last edition of the tips before the final. So yeah, we're coming into the business end of the season. Yeah, all the games now mean a lot more than they did before. So let's just quickly go through what I went in tipping last week, as well as the big call. So Geelong v GWS, I tipped Geelong to win the game, and I got my tip wrong. The Giants pulled off a really good upset. Then in Carlton v Gold Coast, I got another tip incorrect. The Suns upset the Blues in another upset game. Then I tipped North Melbourne in a little bit of an upset, but the Tigers got the job done. And then I started getting a few tips correct. I tipped Port to beat the Crows, and I did say that the Saints would beat the Swans, and what happened? They did win. Next game we had was Hawthorn taking on Collingwood, and I tipped Collingwood, got that one incorrect. Then I got Essendon, the tip correct. I tipped Bulldogs. Then I got the next two correct, tipping Brisbane to beat Freo and West Coast to beat Melbourne to record an average result. Pretty poor performance, 4 out of 9, but a lot of upsets that round. So, you know, most people probably would have got something similar. So let's quickly go through my my big calls of the round. Geelong v Giants, I predicted the Giants to have the lowest score of the year, but that didn't happen. Carlton v Gold Coast, I predicted that the Blues would lead the entirety of the second half. Got that one incorrect. For Richmond v North Melbourne, I said that Lynch will kick 4 or more behinds. And, well, I don't even know if he was playing. I think... No, he was playing. He didn't kick a score. So, there you go. Adelaide v Port, I predicted that Port will double Adelaide's score. That didn't happen. Saints v Sydney, I said that King and Franklin will combine for 8 or more. They only combined for 3 or more. Hawthorn v Collingwood, I predicted that the Hawks will lead for 3 quarters. I got that one correct, actually, which is, yeah, pretty surprising considering I did tip the Pies in that game. For Western Bulldogs v Essendon, I said that the margin wouldn't exceed 24 points. There you go. Got that one correct. 2 out of 3. Freo v Brisbane, I did say that Fife would get less than 15, but I forgot that he was out for the season, so I did change it to Monday if you saw the pinned comment. I thought he was... Oh, no, he was. He got 28. What am I saying? Well, I think that means I got to do the punishment for the week. And then the West Coast Melbourne game, I said that the D's would lead for the entirety of the game. And West Coast were up for like 2 minutes of the game. So 2 out of 9. That is unfortunate. So the one that got the most likes was 125 likes from Luke McMahon saying that I have to go to my primary school to an old school and ask to become a teacher. But look, I don't really want to do that because one, it leaks sort of where I live, and it's something that I'm not actually probably going to be able to pull off. So I know I might sound like an arsehole, but I'm going to give this week's punishments a bit of a skip because most of them that I got I'm not going to do, let's be real. And I did do that 36-hour stream on the weekend, so I'll leave it as that. And because it's COVID, I wasn't able to do a few of the punishments that I was scheduled to do, so we'll just leave it for next week. Hopefully we get out of COVID, and hopefully the punishments aren't something that I'm not going to do like that. I might sound like a bit of an idiot, but let's be real. Most people probably wouldn't do that themselves. So, yeah, just with your punishments, do something that I can actually do, and especially considering COVID, something that I'm actually able to do maybe inside rather than doing something outside. So, anyways, let's get straight into round 22 for the tips. And quickly before we get into them, as of recording this, the fixture's still not yet to be released. And I really wanted to get this video out on the Tuesday, and I've just been delaying the recording for that long, and I still have no clue the exact fixtures. So unfortunately, we'll just have to go through what we have already. But I do know that the first game will be GWS v Richmond on Friday night. Most likely be streaming this one, and this is a really, really big game. For the context of a lot of club seasons, I think really whoever wins this game will most likely make a final spot. I think the Giants and the Tigers both have quite an easy run home. They have Hawthorn, the Tigers, and then Giants have the Blues the weeks after. So really whoever wins this, I will probably say will make the top 8. So hopefully, yeah, a draw wouldn't be too bad if that happened. Both sides got pretty good wins last week. The Giants especially, they had everything against them leading into the game. A lot of injuries, a lot of people out. You know, the Cats playing Geelong away in GMHBA is one of the toughest asks in footy. And the Giants pulled off one of their best wins of all time, really, home and away, that's for sure. Whilst Richmond, they were very much challenged in the first half against North Melbourne. North looked like they were going to get the job done. They looked the better side. I did tip them, but the Tigers, They overrun the North Melbourne in the last half. They were, a much better outfit. I think they kicked 11 goals to 3 in that second half, which just gives them another chance at making the finals this year. If they would have lost that game, I would have said they would be out. But they've kept their season alive. They're still running the Tigers. They still have a pulse. It might be a small one, but really, whoever loses this game is going to be making it difficult to make finals, that's for sure. I think even though Toby Green, I think, won't be playing because he's probably going to get suspended. I don't know if they're going to, give him no weeks after that. I don't know if they're going to reverse the appeal. I still think the Giants have more talent at the moment and they're just playing better footy. Like the Giants' best this season, I would have to say, is better than the Tigers' best. The Tigers just lost all their mojo, really, and not even a win against North Melbourne can save them there. So I'll go the Giants to win it by 14 points. Look, I haven't thought of any of the big calls as I'm filming this, so I'll edit the graphic on top of the tips. So the big call will still be shown on the screen, but as of recording this, I got no idea what my big calls are because, I was just waiting for the fixture to be released and they still haven't been released, which is quite frustrating. So next game of the round, North Melbourne taking on Sydney at Marvel Stadium. Both sides came off some pretty bad losses, especially the Swans. I think most people would have predicted that the Swans would win that one, but the Saints, in another upset, got the job done, and I did tip us, so there you go. I knew something like that would happen, and it actually did. But, the Swans, I think it's not too bad for them. I mean, if they can just finish off the season with a couple of wins, I think it won't really matter. I have a feeling the Swans sort of needed to lose eventually, and you'd rather have that loss come before the finals than during the finals if, they, for whatever reason, actually do end up winning the flag. This game doesn't really mean a lot when you think about the ladder because the Swans, I don't think, have any chance of making the top 4. I think they're almost locked in right now for that 6th position, and the Roos, they're probably locked in for that 18th spot. And quickly covering North Melbourne, they've been really good the last 10 weeks. I think we all know that. They looked the better of the sides against the Tigers last weekend for the first half, but the Tigers showed why they still are a team that have won 3 premierships in the last 4 years, and they outrun them pretty comfortably. But, it's not a confirmed result, this one, but I think the Swans just have too much to play for, and in terms of ladder position, it doesn't mean a lot. It's more just wanting to finish off the season with a bit of form. So I'll tip the Swans in this one to win this one by 23 points. Brisbane v Collingwood. I don't know when this game's going to be when it's going to be played, but it'll be played, and that's all that really matters at the Gabba. Last week, the Lions, they got a really, really impressive win against the Dockers. They found their form back. They really needed one of those wins just to give them some confidence, and they got the confidence building win that they needed. It was over by halftime. The Dockers really weren't able to get back into that game. And Collingwood, well, they were quite disappointing to fall down against the Hawks. I know the Hawks are improving as of the last few weeks, but also the Pies knocked off the Eagles. You'd think that you would have expected them to at least put up more of a fight. But this one being at the Gabba, I don't really give the Pies much hope at all. I don't see the Lions, especially after the game they played against the Dockers, dropping their form once again, especially because there's only a few more weeks to come finals. If the Lions can have a really impressive performance here and then finish it off strong against the Eagles the week after, you never know. They still might be in the race for the premiership. But I think the Lions should win this one quite comfortably. I'll tip him by 30 points. So the next game, we have Geelong taking on St Kilda at GMHBA Stadium. I'm pretty sure this will be the Saturday night game, but I've got no idea really. Well, really, leading into this game, if I told you one team won and one team lost, you'd think, oh yeah, the Cats won, the Saints lost. But no, that's obviously not what happened. The opposite happened. The Giants beat the Cats and the Saints beat the Swans. So it still opens things up. Geelong and the Saints, really, as of late, it's all been the Cats. I don't remember the last time we beat the Cats at GMHBA, and the last time we actually beat them was in 2016. But really, every time we play down in GMHBA, we tend to get smashed. But I feel like this could be a bit different. We are playing a lot better footy, especially after the bye. We are playing a lot better footy, and the Cats, it goes to show they can drop games at GMHBA after last week, and the Giants were without a lot of their stars. So, I wouldn't say that the Cats are 100% going to win this game. In fact, with this season, anything could happen. I'm not going to be a biased Saints fan, though. I don't think we'll win this, but if we win it, finals chances suddenly rocket up, especially if teams around us lose. But I'll go safe if I really want to be leading this tipping comp or getting more tips correct, I'll go the Cats. And if the Saints win, it's a win-win. So Cats to win this one by 18 points. Next up, we've got Gold Coast taking on Essendon at Metricon Stadium. The Suns and the Bombers both recorded really good upset wins against the Blues and the Dogs, respectively. Obviously, Gold Coast going out to marvel after losing to the D's in the same venue by 98. You thought after the Blues massive win against the Saints that the Suns are going to have no chance and the Blues will be way too strong, but the Suns just wanted to win that game a whole lot more than the Blues, and it's just a bit of a weird one. The Suns they can be really good at times, but they can be really poor at other times. But this obviously was a game where they were really good. Took Miller 34 touches and 2 goals, having a obviously a really good season, but just continuing to impress. Obviously, the Bombers, will quickly touch on them. One of their best wins of the season by far. I mean, the Dogs, it's really hard to beat the Dogs at Marvel. After quarter time really is where the Bombers started to dominate the contest. And the Dogs' inaccuracy, you could say that was the reason they lost. But I still think that the Bombers played better than them. And obviously I can't go this game without mentioning Peter Wright, 7 goals straight. How good was Peter Wright? He was absolutely outstanding in that one, kicking 7 goals. And if he can do something similar against his former side, definitely I reckon that the Bombers will win this. I still think they'll win the game, but you never know with the Suns. They're so inconsistent, the Suns, whilst the Bombers, you sort of get what you expect out of them. And I expect a pretty good performance from the Suns, or the Bombers, I should say. So that's why I'll be tipping them to win it by 23 points. Quickly, as I'm filming this, I think they might have updated the fixtures. Because now they're saying that Hawthorn v Bulldogs, the next game that I'm going to go over, is going to be 1:45 on a Saturday at UTAS. So if that's the case, then that's what I'll go through. And that's what I'll go through for the remaining fixtures. Not really too much into this one. I think the Dogs have already locked in their top 4 spot. And the Hawks, they're not making finals, so they're really not playing for much at all. You'd think the Dogs will get the job done here, even though they did drop the game against the Dons. And who knows how badly the loss of Josh Bruce will be for the Dogs come the pointy end of the season. Hawthorn did pull off a few impressive wins as of late, the Pies, the Lions, and at UTAS Stadium, you never know what they might pull off. There could be the sneakiest chance of an upset, but the Dogs aren't the sort of team to really drop against the poor sides like the Hawks. I know they lost to Essendon, but in reality, they're not actually that bad of a side, and they have competed with a lot of good sides this year. So I think this one should be quite a safe option. I'll go the Western Bulldogs to win this one by 32 points. Next game, we've got Melbourne taking on Adelaide at the MCG. I think this one's going to be played Sunday 2:10 p.m. at the MCG, which sort of sucks because I think Caden's birthday is on the Saturday. He would have done a pretty good live stream if it was on his birthday, but that's not to be. This is quite another one that's probably going to be self-explanatory. The Crows, they were all right against the Power actually last week. They only went down by 4. I actually thought it'd be a smashing, but they fought hard, especially without a few plays. Obviously, Taylor Walker, we all know why he's not playing. And the D's, well, it was such an interesting game, such a bizarre game last night. The Lightning delay didn't happen. The D's probably would have won the game by 50 plus, but the Lightning delay made it a very interesting one because the Eagles actually got back into the contest, and if they had 5 more minutes extra in this game, they could have well and truly won that one. So luckily for the D's sake, they got the job done, and against the Crows, I think based off the last 2 weeks that the D's have performed, smashing the Suns and all that, I think we can trust the D's a whole lot more to not drop any more games against the lowly faced sides, especially the Crows. I know they did lose to them early this year as their first loss of the season, so I think the D's should win this one quite comfortably. I'll tip them to win it by 39. So the second last game that'll be going over, but it'll be played 4:35, I think, at the Adelaide Oval. We've got Port Adelaide taking on Carlton. The Power, they were very lucky to win the game against the Crows last week in the showdown. Aliir was amazing, but very good win for them because even though it wasn't the most impressive win, I think that banks them a top 4 spot, so they can almost confirm a top 4 spot. Really now it's whether or not they're going to finish top 2 or top 4, which is probably still important for them considering they can still play games at Adelaide Oval. Carlton, on the other hand, well, if they would have beaten the Suns, well and truly their season would have been alive because they would have been on 9 wins with a better percentage than teams like the Dockers and the Saints, but unfortunately for them, they went down to the Suns, which puts David Teague's career in a lot of jeopardy. He's probably not going to be coaching next year, so really this game means not a lot for the Blues. They're not making finals after that. You'd think the Power would win this pretty easily at Adelaide Oval. You know, they haven't lost against a bottom 10 side at all this year. Carlton haven't been a top 8 side this year, so why would I go the Blues? But there's got to be an upset one week. There's got to be an upset one week. Why do I feel like this will be the upset that the Carlton will just find a way to win? They always respond after shocking performances. So I'm going to go for the upset of all upsets this week. Carlton by 8 points in this one. And the last game of the round, we've got Freo taking on West Coast at Optus Stadium on the Sunday. This is going to be one of the biggest derbies you'll ever see, considering that both sides are still playing for a top 8 spot. And it means a lot for all the other sides around them in the ladder. If the Eagles win this one, I think they can guarantee a top 8 spot. If Freo win this one, there's still a chance after their poor performance against the Lions. Yeah, obviously the Dockers last week, they were abysmal against the Lions. They coughed up a 9-goal lead at halftime, and that was really it. And the Eagles, well, they were all right, really, for most of the game. Just that third quarter, where they conceded 5 goals to 1, really hurt them. And after the lightning delay break, they sort of got back into the contest, kicking 4 goals, and almost ended up winning that, but only fell short by 9 points. Obviously, the Eagles are not playing great footy, and the Dockers really should challenge. Like, this should be the derby where they actually find something and get a job done. I think the Dockers have lost their last 10 derbies, so can the Dockers finally win a derby? I honestly hope they do. I don't know. I'm going to go West Coast. I was going to go Dockers before filming this, but West Coast are just more trustworthy in terms of the derbies. But I hope I'm wrong. I really do hope I'm wrong. So we'll go the West Coast Eagles to win this one by 15 points. So there we go, guys. Those were my round 22 AFL tips and predictions. Because of, you know, me delaying the filming because I wanted to find the fixture, this video will probably be out a little bit later than what I expect. Probably at like 5 if you'll know when you're watching it. Let's be real. But yeah, hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. My tipping comp, I'm 67th. Suresh for Eagles and Geordie Sco. Actually, there are a few people battling for top spot. Yeedis and Peterson on 124. So you never know what might happen. I'm on 118, so that's why a few upsets needed to be made. But yeah, thank you guys all for watching the tipping video. We'll see how it goes on uploads. I'll try and get, you know, the usual 4 uploads a week. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys soon in my next one.